Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Bunnahabhain 25-year-old, 46.3% ABV. Dustin, a bottle that Ohio had mispriced about 3 or 4 years ago. It's like $230, so a bunch of us bought a bunch of these up, and I realized that you and I have never even drank this whiskey together before. I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah.
You've always said you were kind of a fan of this whiskey, so we figured we would bring it to you guys again. It's whiskey I did with Billy way back in the day, but it's fun to bring it back to you. The box comes as a nice little pamphlet, makes it look like an old pirate map or something, and again, a beautiful box on this Bunna 25. This is kind of the older bottling compared to what they have now today, but a whiskey that from the first time I had it, I was kind of impressed with it, and it's been a while since I had it, so let's go back to it.
I don't think I've had this in about 2 years, Mike, so it's been a while.
You know, I've always said this about this whiskey. If, you know, someone's coming over to me for the first time, you know, a friend of a friend, a date of somebody that, you know, we're hanging out with, or, you know, family member or something like that, I've always said, if you don't like Bunnahabhain 25, you don't like whiskey. Yeah. There's something here for absolutely everybody.
Yeah, you said that. You know, we did the comparison of the old 18 versus the new 18, and I remember distinctly thinking back to that old 18 that tasted an awful lot like a 25.
I agree, until you have the 25 right next to it.
We didn't do that day. Man. Or actually, maybe we did. That sounds like something we would have done and just left it off camera.
It does. So beautiful color, beautiful walnut color.
Yeah, is this a natural color?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Unchill filtered, again, 46.3% ABV.
God, this just smells like a beautiful, like, buttered bread and oak.
Old whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, it's classic old whiskey. There's a bit of a saltiness. There's a bit of
There's pieces of a lot of things here. It's a bit nutty.
Is this slightly peated, Mike?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I'm getting just the slightest note that could be peat, or it could just be kind of like a maritime maturation, or
just a, you know, smoke from the wood.
Yeah.
It's kind of what
it's not even smoke so much as it is like an earthiness.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I've always thought of like there's smoke and then there's earthy, and peat can give you both.
Yeah, but this is more earthy than smoke.
Yeah. I'm not getting a lot of smoke, but I'm definitely getting, and then I'm getting a little bit of wine cask finishing here, but
Yeah, a light cherry note.
Yeah, I mean, this is good oak.
And just maybe some spices as well. Light spice. Very light cinnamon. Cardamom, maybe.
I was going to say cardamom.
Mm-hmm.
Just hints.
Just, again, pieces of everything.
Yeah, this is kind of like you're trying to just make a perfectly balanced whiskey. I've always said, you know, Highland Park 18 is your cheap entry level, and cheap is kind of a loose term there. It was a lot cheaper 2-3 years ago, but Highland Park 18 is that, you know, it's approachable, not high, it's not hot, it's not super expensive, and it kind of gives you an idea of, here's Scotch, what do you like and what do you dislike here?
Yeah, no, that is a Scotch that if someone wants to say what a Scotch like, I would say try Highland Park 18. Very palatable, kind of gives you a little bit of a lot of pieces. But again, like as we
this
said,
is a more approachable.
Oh yeah,
introduction to Scotch.
When we said, when I said earlier when the review first started, I've said before, if you don't like this whiskey, you don't like whiskey.
Yeah.
This is still rich in a lot of spots, but just so easy to take. It's kind of reminiscent of the 43% Balvenie 21-year-old Portwood. Like, it's just, you know, that's quality whiskey, even if you don't know whiskey.
Well, I was even getting ready to kind of take it back and go, you know, Highland Park, I say that's for Scotch. But this,
just whiskey,
even if you are a bourbon drinker,
yes,
you're going to be...
There's no way anybody who knows whiskey takes this and says, this is not a nice whiskey. It strips
out all of the things that could be offensive in a bourbon for a Scotch drinker. But it has some of these elements of the oak presence here that I get, and I'm not picking up on the nose, that distinct. I know some people don't like malt. They don't like single malts in general.
Yeah, you don't
this one doesn't give you like that over-the-top maltiness that I think sets people off. And if you like Japanese whiskey, you're gonna love this thing. I mean, just flat out. Irish whiskey, I think so too.
Again, this crosses all boundaries. Again, I don't care what type of whiskey you like. This is a whiskey that you'll enjoy drinking. I don't care who you are. If you're given a gift, actually, I should have gave this for that wedding gift when I was talking about. I gave a GlenDronach 18. I should have given Bunnahabhain 25. This whiskey leaves out everything that you could think would be bad about whiskey. There is nothing off-putting about this whiskey whatsoever. Not from ABV, but it's a good ABV. You know what it's like? This is a like an athlete that isn't top 2 in anything, but he has no weakness. There is nothing off-putting in this whatsoever. It's beautiful. It's smooth as far as the smell and how it transitions from one smell to another. On the palate, what are you picking up?
Balance. It's not quite as sweet and sherried as the 18, that's old ones. You don't get the berry notes as much. You get a little up front, and then you get nice kind of, it's rich oak, but it's very clean. It's not oaky. It's not bitter. You get sort of a little bit of a butterscotch. You get a little bit of like, nice rolls, breads, types of things coming in there.
So many things.
You get light hints of leather, but not much. You get a little bit of varnish, but not much.
Berry, leather, oak, vanilla, light spice, cardamom, slight bit of caramel, nuttiness,
Kind of
brown,
nuts.
like I would say a walnut.
Okay.
Like, so,
Because I'm in my head, I'm thinking nutty, peanut buttery right
No.
now. I'm like, that's
no,
not
no, dry nut.
walnut, maybe almond.
No cashew, no peanuts. Yeah, like walnut,
Maybe a hint of almond or something like that.
almond, something like that. Very plain, but then a little bit of chocolate. Spice kind of rolls back in there. I mean, just a beautiful whiskey. A beautiful whiskey. I mean, and 46% isn't going to be too aggressive for anybody. And it still feels not. I mean, I wouldn't say this is an oily whiskey. I wouldn't say that.
No.
It's a medium viscosity whiskey, but it still feels rich.
Yeah, there's a bit of a spiciness on here that I really don't. It's just a feeling of spiciness that gives it a nice full mouth coat. Where I could see somebody who's very, very early on, very sensitive to alcohol, being a little off put by that. But that's the only person who's getting off put by this.
I don't know, man.
And that's a rare person. I'm telling. That's like your grandma who's never had a pour of whiskey before.
Sure.
That's her.
I wish this was my first pour of whiskey.
Oh man.
I mean, again,
I would have spent a lot more money in my 20s. It would have been bad.
Yeah, there was nothing off-putting about this, but this is just a beautiful, well-woven together whiskey.
Oh man. So now I'm getting.
You know what a shame is? I bought 8 of these for like that $230 misprice.
Should have bought more.
I know. I gave like 1 to this dude in New York for cost, and I was just drinking for months, just drinking this as my regular drinker. I come home on Friday night, I just pour Bunnahabhain and
For
25.
$230, I mean, why not?
It was a beautiful 4 or 5 months. Weather was nice, this on a regular basis, because this will go in any weather. Because it has enough heft to be like a cold weather whiskey. And whiskey in general goes well in the cold.
Yeah.
But I mean, day like today,
50 degrees outside. Yeah. We're dressing like it's summer because it was like 80 degrees 2 days ago.
It's a while. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a little all over the place.
Water, added chocolate. It added a little minty kind of like powdered sugar kind of thing going on there.
Cocoa, almost.
Yeah. Mint's probably not the right word, but it gave me like a little bit of a sensation like a mint would. Chocolate mint or something.
Sure.
But not too much changed.
Yeah, almost like a little bit of a peppermint almost. Some type of leafy mint. Like a mint you get as like a garnishment, like with your steak.
Yeah, something just kind of, I actually was going to say something different and then I might change to mint there, like mid-word. I'm like, nope, that's mint kind of.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a mint chocolate, like those Andes mints, but it's so subtle and light. There's like cocoa and then a little bit of an Andes mint, just barely.
It's like little mints people, hotels leave on your bed.
Yeah, and they've just added a little bit more sugar when the water comes in. It just brings out a little bit more.
There was
sugar.
always, I said initially, I think in the nose, I said brown sugar, and the brown sugar is always there.
Yeah. To me, this is getting more towards, like, again, that powdered donut sugar.
Yeah, there is nothing wrong with this whiskey. I'm looking for flaws, really. I mean, you mentioned something that could be a flaw. I mean, I didn't view that as a flaw, because we just had a whiskey that had a bunch of flaws.
Oh, yeah.
But this one is, it's a flawless whiskey. It's a perfect diamond.
Mm-hmm. I mean, going back to the palate, not much change with water. It is a little more bitter than it is sweet. And some whiskey drinkers are probably going to gravitate more towards sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But at 25 years old, you're going to always have a little bit of bitterness. That's just the effect of 25 years in oak.
I mean, it's oaky. I don't know if I go so far as to call it bitter.
I said there's a little bit of bitterness. Again, if you're talking perfectly balanced, this one is slightly more bitter than it is sweet.
Okay. 60-40, I give you that.
Yeah. How do you know if it's that? It's 45, 55.
Yeah, no,
but it's just slightly on that. Because I think the 18, the old 18s, I think they're more the opposite. They're 55, 60 sweet.
Sure, I agree with
40% bitter. This one went the other direction. And I honestly think if you had these side by side, some people would take that 18. Some people take the 25.
The 18 is more lively. The old 18 is more lively. The one that has a bottle very similar to the label on this, not the one with the blue label.
Yeah, no, the blue label's it's a fine whiskey, but it's not this level.
But again, I always thought that old one had older whiskey in it.
Yeah,
it came off 20 plus years old.
There's a lot of rumors that there is 25-year-old whiskey in these old 18s. This one, there could be some 30-year-old in here. I don't know.
I mean, this is old whiskey. I mean, you and I drink a good amount of whiskey. It doesn't take long to figure out that this whiskey is old. From the first smell, you can say this is old.
All that said, Mike, there's no flaw here. Let's just stand by that.
I agree.
What do you love about this whiskey?
I mean,
that's where I'm a little
because
shaky.
There is this fruity, juicy bubblegum note to it on the nose that I get that I've always loved. I mean, we picked through the different smells in it already, but overall, as soon as I go to this whiskey, right, I just get juicy fruit bubblegum.
Yep.
And it's full and it's rich. And it's very inviting on the nose. And I don't that sweet, juicy, sugary sweetness on the nose is appealing to me anytime.
Yeah.
And then on the palate, man, I mean, again, it's medium viscosity, but it feels rich and it feels old. It is incredibly palatable. Like no one is going to say, wow, that burned. You know what I mean? Even at 46.3% ABV. As you and I both know, there are Canadian whiskeys that are 35% that are hot on the palate.
Oh, yeah.
There are American whiskeys that are 40% that are hot on the palate. This is 46.3%. And if you think this whiskey's hot or difficult to drink, then you're going to have a hard time with whiskeys.
Yeah. So I really do enjoy the nose. I do think the nose is pretty inviting. Really like going back to it. On the palate, though, Mike, everything is good to very good. There's not anything that's exceptional. There's nothing that stands out.
What did I say at the beginning of the review? I said, this isn't number one or number two in anything.
Yeah.
But it has no weaknesses. So think of it like an athlete. Think of it like a football player. He's not the fastest guy, but he's one of the fastest guys. You know, he's not a receiver, but he's like a safety. You know, but he's 6'5" and he's 250 pounds. Not the biggest guy, not the tallest guy, but he's one of the bigger, taller guys. He has no weakness. This whiskey has absolutely no weakness.
Yeah. But what I guess I'm struggling with now is to score this, because usually my scores, I find 3-4 things I really like about a whiskey, and I let those
drive the experience.
And then I look for a couple of flaws, and I say, okay, those need to bring it back. Here, I honestly, Mike, I feel like I'm just underscoring this whiskey because I don't think I can properly. There's no wow factor here, and so that has me thinking. 87, 88.
Yeah, you're less impressed with this whiskey than I am.
Yeah, I'm feeling 87, 88, and I'm gonna go 88 because I think the richness of the mouthfeel, the way it's able to kind of carry that through, is exceptional for a 46.3% whiskey.
Oh, and the finish, man.
The finish also has a nice linger. It's spicy. It's nice, but I'm not seeing those notes I want for 89, 90s.
Yeah, man. I've been back and forth between a 90 and 91, so I'm gonna settle on a 90.
Wow.
I love this whiskey.
Wow. So you are all in. You're buying this again for $400 all day if you see one.
This bottle?
Yes.
$400 all day.
Not even blinking an eye.
Take my money.
Gotcha.
The next question is how many you got?
Not yeah. There you go. I would.
No, yeah. I'm out at 600. Let's say.
Yeah, which they're 800 now here in Ohio. But
well, that's the worst price ever.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
$230 was a steal. I pay $400 for this whiskey.
$230. I'm buying a case.
Yeah.
And when I give you an 88, $230, done.
Yeah, I mean, 88. I know 88 for you is still a good score, and I get the non-wow factor. There's nothing that is over the top. Like, I can't wait to get to that. To me, the nose is incredible. It smells like juicy fruit bubble gum. There's everything I love on the nose.
I'm not getting juicy fruit on the nose.
As soon as I swallow it, I love the finish. I love the palate. There is no experience of this whiskey other than the palate that is not a 90.
Wow.
That's where I'm at.
Wow.
Dustin doesn't agree. I think that's the face of not agreeing. That's okay.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, this is a bottle I would pay maybe $400 for to have one bottle in the collection, because I think this is a really good bottle to share with people. But it's not a bottle I'd buy to have a nightcap with at that price.
I mean, I wouldn't put it in my top 10.
Well, obviously, you have more than 10 bottles for $400.
Right. So, I mean, there's still a place for it. I think this is just a solid. I mean, again, if this to me, this is like a standard 90 at this point. Nothing off-putting, and a bunch of things in its favor. ABV is in its favor, age is in its favor, flavor is in its. I mean, everything is going its way. There's nothing that I can criticize this whiskey about. And we've talked about it too much. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Were you at 87 or 88?
I'm gonna go 88. Yeah.
80 out of 100. I'm at 90. I like this one a little bit better. It's my bottle. Maybe I'm just trying to protect it. It was my first
my
really
baby.
good deal. Yeah. Again, love this whiskey. So hopefully a lot of you guys have been able to try this at this point. Tell us what you guys think. Tell us what you think of the 18 as well. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you then.